Well, here we go. Racing back. It's the last weekend in June. To anybody connected with motorcycle racing, Grand Prix motorcycle racing, that means one thing: a pilgrimage to the cathedral. It's Assen. And anybody who has never been there, well, may I tell you, you have to go to the cathedral at least once and don't make it your funeral. Do it before then because you are talking about somewhere so, so special. And I am so, so pleased that a dear, dear friend of mine, we traveled the world together for 50 years probably, is on the program today. Nobody knows more about Assen than Hans van Loozenoord. Hans, welcome to Racing Back. And I think on, well, I was going to say Saturday, but it's Sundays now, isn't it? It's your 64th visit to the cathedral.
Uh, yes, it is. Well, thanks for the invitation for joining this exclusive club of Grand Prix fans.
Oh, fart, you mean? That's what you got to say.
Uh, no, it's a 60. It's the 60. The first TT I went to was 1964
Yeah.
with my father by car, of course, and I remember very, very well. I was 11 years old. I remember very well Jim Redman winning three races on one
Oh,
day.
yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Hailwood did it as well, didn't he, at some stage?
Yes, yes. Mike Hilbert did it a couple of years later,
Yeah.
1967. And I've got some interesting figures here for you because
Come on.
Mike Hilbert, he won. First, there was a 350 race he entered on the Honda. And that race took 1 hour and 5 minutes. One
Oh,
hour and 5 minutes. I mean, nowadays these guys have had their shower and all the press conferences, etc.
yeah.
But Helmut got off his bike, hardly had time to go to the rostrum because the next race was the 250.
Yeah.
And he won that one as well. It took him 54 minutes. Then there was a small lunch break, a 125 race, and then the senior, the 500cc, took him 1 hour and 3 minutes. And in
Wow.
those days, the riders, okay, they paid some attention to their body, but not as much as they do today with
Yeah.
food and gymnastics and athletics and whatever they do. They have a lot of time to do that as well. But Mike Hillwood won three races on one day. It was incredible.
Oh,
And
wonderful days. And let's start right at the beginning of the circuit. I think 1925 was it? The road circuit really around the town of Assen, wasn't it?
Well, it was south of Assen, the
Yeah.
circuit, where basically where it is now, but it was a big, yet the northern loop as well. So in those days when Mike Hillwood was racing, it was 7.8 kilometers. It was
Yeah.
the circuit which was inaugurated in 1955. Before that, they had a race on a 28-kilometer circuit that they used from 1926 onwards. And
Right.
the funny thing is that the start line of the 1926 race is exactly located at the same place as it is today in
Wow.
2026. The same
Yeah.
start line, same circuit, a bit different, a bit smaller, a bit modern, but still Assen. And well, that's one of the reasons it has become the cathedral of speed because it's always been on the same place and always been on the same time of year, usually the
Yes.
last Saturday of June. That was the day, and the week after was Francorchamps in Belgium on the Sunday, 8 days later. That was the tradition in those days, in the days of Mike Hillwood and Bill Ivey and Giacomo Agostini, of course. And the first time I've met both Mike Hillwood and Giacomo Agostini was in 1965 because my uncle, he was linked to the organization. He was on the board, as a matter of fact, and he gave my father two tickets for the prize giving. There was a prize giving on Saturday evening in a
That's
in a big
right.
theater in the center of Essen. Of course, Jaap Timmer did the presentation. No one else could do that. And
Oh,
I was in the position to ask both Mike Hillwood and Giacomo Agostini for their signature. and they were both willing to give it. So that was the first good souvenir I had of Agostini and of Mike Hillwood, of course. When Mike made his comeback in 1978, I decided, well, when he won on the Isle of Man on the Ducati, I said, well, if he's going to do this again, I'm going to go to the Isle of Man. And then he decided to race there the following year on a 500 Suzuki. So I had
He
to
did.
persuade the editor of Motor to send me to the island. I said, I must make a story with Mike Hillwood. And as a matter of fact, I met him in Douglas then that particular year as well. And ever such the nicest man you could wish to meet, Mike Hillwood. I must say that.
Well, a hero of mine, as you know. 1949 Grand Prix racing started, and I mean, Assen just had to be on the calendar, didn't it? And it's remained there ever since.
Yes, yeah. And the fact that we are on the calendar is thanks to an Englishman called Stanley Woods.
Ah,
1927, the TT got the international status for the first time, and Stanley Woods joined the entry list with his Nortons. He came from Harwich by boat to Hoek van Holland, and then both bikes went on the train to the center of Assen, where there's a railway station, and he took the bikes to a small hotel somewhere in Assen, and of course on the Saturday he won the 500cc race.
and that's how
Another
it all
great
started.
man. Blimey,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
we are going through the list.
Golly, just the four we mentioned so far. It's
Yeah,
the very history of the sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to break this historical chain and ask Hans a more general question. When I first went to Assen in 1980, Jack Middleburg's win, by ferry to the Hook of Holland, just like Stanley on a Motor Guzzi, in fact. I was told by everybody that it was the biggest sporting event of the year in Holland, in the Netherlands, I beg your pardon. Does that still obtain? Is that still the case, or has F1 taken over?
Well, in a certain way it is. When you look at the total number of spectators during the weekend, Formula One in Zandvoort with Max Verstappen probably has a few thousand more because it's sold out for 3 days. But Assen can stage more public than Zandvoort can. So on race day, Assen is probably the biggest. And as Zandvoort will vanish off the Formula One calendar next year, Assen will be once again the biggest event, biggest one-day event in the Netherlands sporting events. As it is, there's a cycle race, there's one big international classic cycle race that probably draws more spectators, but they don't pay. You know, they're not. No, they're on the side of the roads, and
Yeah.
maybe there's a grandstand at the finish. I don't know, but paying spectators, Assen has the record in the Netherlands, and it is a big thing. When I used to work there, I heard that they did some research to get subsidies and other things. And 1/3 of the spectators was from the local area, was from the province of Drenthe in the north.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And there was a high number of people from Germany, spectators from Germany, also from
Always.
Scandinavia, because for Sweden and Denmark, it's the closest place they can go to from their countries, and quite a few from England as well.
Yeah.
So it is a big thing, and I hope it's going to be a big thing for the next couple of years. They have a contract that will last for a couple of more years here.
It was a wonderful week, wasn't it? From England, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Go on the ferry, just have so much fun.
And-
Go to Assen, trip to Amsterdam on the way back, and then go straight to Spa. I mean, it was heaven for people of my age at that time to watch Grand Prix motorcycle racing. It was just
And it was
perfect.
It was, as Hansa said, the European meeting place. You saw
Yes.
more different number plates on motorcycles,
Yeah.
as you said, from Scandinavia, from all over Europe. And the timing of Assen in the middle of the season meant lots of deals were sealed, weren't they? Assen was
They were.
always the place where business was done.
New contracts were signed at Assen, or they were announced at Assen. And
Yes.
you mentioned Amsterdam on the way back. Well, I can assure you that Amsterdam, in the days when the race was still on Saturday, that Sunday afternoon, Amsterdam, that was the place where about 90% of the foreign paddock people were to be found.
To be found. Yes.
Yeah.
We should say no more.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Quite rightly.
And the circuit, as you say, Hans, has changed greatly, and even recently it's changed for various reasons. But there's still, and people moan, they always will moan, say, nah, it's not the same, but there's still so much of the old characteristics there, aren't there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny sort of place as a circuit, because I remember the foreign people saying, well, Assen has no corners, it has kinks.
Yeah.
It left, right, and you have to choose the line, and there's a crest in the middle of the road that is to get rid of the water when it's raining. And you have to go over that crest and then crank your bike again for the next corner. It demands a very special technique, and not all riders in Grand Prix racing are fast at Assen, and there's always one or two exceptions. Sometimes at Assen you see a rider, he takes off very, very quickly, and people won't see him again until the finish line, because he knows the circuit, he controls the circuit and the technique to go fast. Nowadays the Grand Prix field is more close, but many years ago, with people like Cork Bellington, for example, he disappeared in the distance. He was gone.
Yeah.
So it's a special place, and when they changed the circuit, and that was in 2006, that was the last drastical change from 6 kilometers to 4.5. That's a circuit as we know it now. There's a northern part which is very, very slow and a bit boring. And then you get the quick part, and all these riders saying, well, yeah, but the real Assen circuit is gone. I said, well, guys, you still have the southern loop. It's very fast. It's one of the fastest circuits of the whole on the whole calendar.
Yeah.
And that part is still there. You don't have circuits of 6 or 7 kilometers nowadays anymore. That people don't want that. Television doesn't want it. Spectators, they have to wait long before they see a rider again.
Yes.
So it's all changed, and I'm glad that Assen has still kept its character by retaining the southern loop.
I would agree. And I remember when that last change was made, and some of the management was getting rather hot under the collar because riders were complaining in the press conferences or not approving, that somebody said, well, if you'd never seen the old Assen, you'd think this circuit was the bee's knees, was absolutely, one of the best we have. And I think that's what we hang on to. It is still one of the best we go to.
It still is. You can tell it's an old circuit, old style circuit, by the fact that it doesn't have a service road like most circuits nowadays. They have one on the left and one on the right side of the circuit. In Assen, you don't have that. So
you got the ditch. You're in the dike, can't you? You can't get out on the service road on the inside.
That's true. There's these in the southern part. There's these green loops, hills, little hills, and where people can still sit. And for the rest, now I think they've got 62,000 grandstand seats now. That's where they house most of the people.
Yeah.
And there is something wonderful about that wavy roof line down the main straight from the chicane. I know it's a chicane that ends the lap, but it's one chicane nobody ever complains about.
Well, it's a chicane that before it was a chicane, it was a very fast right-hand kink.
Yes.
And modern day bikes, I would reckon, between third and fourth gear, very fast. But a rider was killed there during the Formula 750 race in September in 1975, I believe. And then they changed the circuit. They made the chicane. And the usual chicanes are left-right or right-left. But this one is right-left-right. it contains of 3 parts, 3 corners. So they got to flip over these bikes. It's very interesting because the corner before the chicane that starts with the right-hand corner is a very fast one, the left-hander. So when you keep the ideal position on the racetrack, you're not on the right place to start braking for the chicane. So that makes these last laps so interesting. Ask Colin Edwards and Nicky Hayden, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marquez and Rossi as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, through the
Yeah.
grass to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Joey Dunlop having an incident there as well many years ago. Because, of course, it used to be Assen wasn't just a Grand Prix. For many years,
no.
it was Speed Week. So you got the old F1 boys racing there as well. And I think Europeans.
Yeah, I think you had it on a Thursday night, didn't they? They had practice, and then did they have the TT Formula One race on a Thursday night, Hans?
Yeah, there was a Thursday night and a classic event as well.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
right.
had what they did. They had the practice for the European Championship on the, I think on the Monday,
Yeah,
and on the Tuesday there was a European Championship. There were some races.
yeah,
And the Wednesday was off for the marshals, for the organizers,
yeah,
for everyone. And on Thursday was practice again. And on Thursday evening, Formula One with
yeah.
Rob McElnay, Roger
Joey
Marshall,
Dunlop,
Roger
all of them,
Burnett, Carl Fogarty won it.
yeah,
Joey Dunlop won it 2 or
yeah,
3 times, I believe.
yeah,
That was fantastic. And 1 week of racing. And Assen always tried to give the crowd a lot of value for money. So when the 50cc class was introduced in 1962, they had all 6 classes on the program.
yeah.
All
Which
6
is
counting towards the
what
World
a way to
Championship.
spend a Saturday. Why was it a Saturday and not a Sunday? Was it to do with the church? That's what I always used to tell people.
Yeah, well, yes, it had to do with the church, but not particularly with the religion, because the first race was held in Rolde. There was a start and finish area in the center of a small village, where in the area now Egbert Stroyer lives, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And they decided to run the race on Saturday because on Sunday the racetrack would block the entrance to the church.
Ah,
The people couldn't go to church on Sunday because there were motorbikes in the way. So that's okay. We do it on a Saturday, and besides that, we don't get the criticism from the heavy religious people that are still
Yeah.
there as well. So and then they start. Okay, we keep it on a Saturday, and well, it used to be till how many years ago? 2016. I see here on my list, and it was changed to
Yeah.
the Sunday, and also some people were complaining about that, but well, what have you? I mean, all sports are on Sunday nowadays.
I don't complain because it was the only weekend of the year I'd get home for Sunday lunch. I used to love it.
Sunday
Saturday,
lunch,
back
Sunday
to
Amsterdam,
that evening,
Sunday
fly
Amsterdam.
out.
You mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was home eating Sunday lunch. I used to love it on a Saturday, to be honest with you.
There was a justification for that change because certainly TV viewing figures
Yeah,
were massively increased with the move to Sunday, which was,
That's right.
one of the objectives, really, isn't it? Is to get lots of eyes on the action.
of course
No,
it is. Of
that's
course.
true. And I remember the first day. I think you were there as well, Nick. We went to Kielami for the South African Grand Prix. That was also on a
Yes,
Saturday.
yes, but they certainly were, Hans. Yeah, that's right.
And all petrol
Yeah,
stations were closed on the Sunday in
yeah,
Johannesburg.
yeah, that's right. Golly, you've got a great memory. Yeah, they were on a Saturday. I think Brazil, and sometimes they run on a Saturday as well
Yeah.
when the race was in Rio. But
I,
you've got so many great races to talk about, and we could
yeah.
be here all day. But
Let's ask
and
about
lots of Dutch winners.
Yes,
Yes,
you must have seen every Dutch winner then, Hans.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I was in the lucky position to see Paul Lodewijks win the 50cc race in 1968 on a home-built Yamati, a private bike,
God,
built in a shed behind house in the middle of nowhere, and not too far from Schiphol airport, as a matter of fact. He beat the Kreidler, the factory, the factory Suzuki of Hans-Georg Anscheid. He had
Wow.
he had a two-cylinder still left, and the year after they were banned. 1968. Then, of course, we had 1977. Will Hartog.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. I remember the track invasion by the crowd, and Will Hartog throwing his helmet in the air and taking full advantage on a private bike of the slippery conditions at the start of the race,
Mm.
beating world champions, taking Barry Sheen on his shoulder on the rostrum. It was such a great day, such a great day for Dutch motorcycle racing, and it put him on the list of Suzuki, and later he would obtain a factory bike from Heron Suzuki. 3 years later, of course, Jack
Yeah,
Middleburg.
Jack Middleburg. I think
That was your
both Jules and I were there for that race.
You were
Exactly.
there too, Jules. Yeah.
I was there.
That was amazing because
What?
it was he could hardly start because Jack was always limping, always had problems with a leg that he broke about once a year, I think. He could hardly start the bike. I mean, we didn't have starts with running engines, and nowadays you just have to be careful with the clutch. But he had to push the bike, and he won the race as well, also taking advantage of the circumstances. And of course, later he won Silverstone.
Yes, he
I was
certainly
there
did.
too. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The
I was
last,
involved in the Barry Sheen crash as well at Silverstone, Jack.
yeah,
Yeah.
the win
Yeah.
being the last Grand Prix
Yeah, that-
500cc win by a true privateer,
Yeah.
Yes,
i.e.,
Yes.
a man who bought his own motorbike.
yeah.
And then it
the
came to
races-
sidecars, Hans, because like the British, sidecars are big news in Holland, aren't they?
Oh, yes, because of Herbert Streuer, of course.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he won 3 world titles before winning the Dutch TT.
Ah,
First with Bernard Snieders, and then later with the English sidecar man Pete Brown.
oh yeah.
And 3 world championships without a victory in your home Grand Prix. Imagine.
Yeah.
He has that in common with Kenny Roberts. Kenny Roberts was a triple 500cc world champion before he managed to win the Dutch TT. He won a 250 race
Yes,
later
he
as
did,
well,
didn't
but
he?
that was Roberts. He always had bad luck. I remember when he was on pole position and his bike was pushed away from the first line of the grid
Was that in
because the
Middleburg?
brake pads had fallen out. Remember that?
Was that
Yeah.
in Middleburg's year?
Was that when Middleburg won? It could have won. Not.
I think it was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went and sat in the little press box in the main grandstand, and I have this image of Roberts being pushed away. But my main image, before the phrase Mexican wave had been invented, you knew where Middleburg was on the circuit by just observing the crowd going into vertical takeoff as he came past.
Absolutely. It was my first Grand Prix as a Grand Prix reporter. I'd been to Assen before, but and I thought, wow, yeah. I went in 75 as well, Hans, and Barry Sheen won his first ever 500 Grand Prix. What a race that was with Aggo.
Yeah, I was sitting on the grandstand, no, on the press stand in those days. There was a grandstand with a roof just opposite the finish line.
Yeah.
Looking at the corner that was still not a chicane.
No, it was a fast.
It was a
wasn't
fast right-hand kink, and there were Barry Sheen and Giacomo Agostini approaching at high speed.
Yeah.
Aggo was in the lead. Barry Sheen followed him. Coming out of the corner, you just saw Barry Sheen on the Suzuki overtaking Giacomo Agostini on the Yamaha on the outside.
Yeah.
He won the race and still is probably the only race in history where there were no split times for number
That's
one
right.
and number 2 in the race. They were equal on time according to the timekeeping of those days, which was a bit obsolete. I reckon.
Stopwatches, yeah,
There was
yeah.
one who finished first, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a story that Sheen, every lap he fainted to the inside. He acted like he was going to go through on the inside.
Yeah.
And then on the last lap,
Yeah.
went
very,
the other
very
way.
smart, very smart fella. Yeah.
Certainly was.
Yeah. And
Oh, Hans.
We have one more Dutch victor, Harry.
Oh, yes, Hans Span.
Hans Spaan, 1989. And that was also a last lap decider. Dicing with Alex Crivier.
Ah,
I think they overtook each other, I think 3 or 4 times on the last lap.
yeah.
And there was still also the old circuit with two very sharp right-handers. And on the southern part of the circuit, Hans Spaan outbraked Crivier on the inside, took the lead, and on the southern loop he stayed in front all the time. And Crivier had a Gota Cobas, as the Spanish would say, tried to pass him. The bike was a little bit faster. He couldn't get past Spaan, who won the TT. And then nearly Spaan was scored on the line by Crivier, but with just half a wheel or so. And
Yeah.
we had another track invasion. Fantastic.
Like track invasion.
which explains why when I went in 1980, the track was lined by dodgy-looking blokes with even dodgier-looking German Shepherd dogs on leads.
They had big dogs, didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
That's right.
I was impressed by Dutch fans throwing sandwiches between the dogs. So they started fighting for the sandwich. It was, in fact,
Oh, that's great.
that first trip to the Dutch TT,
One will never forget. Yeah.
probably along with watching on any Sunday, absolutely formed my ideas of what motorcycle racing should be like, how it should make you feel, what it should give you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and also the grandstands in Assen, the seats for the spectators are very close to the racetrack. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in Silverstone, you need a pair of binoculars, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in Assen, you can really see the riders approach and recognize who's who.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Very true.
absolutely. One thing I do want to ask you, Hans, because obviously for NOS, the national television, you were doing MotoGP and Formula One, and as you were saying, Verstappen and Formula One. But you've seen how Liberty came into Formula One and the changes they've made. They've now come into MotoGP. Will the changes be the same? Well, how do you see they're going to do it?
Well, they're gonna put more emphasis on show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obvious. I mean, we've seen what they did with Formula One, for example, the American Grand Prix in Las Vegas and in Miami. It's one big show. There's more celebrities on the grid than riders or drivers, or what do you want to call them. There's more attention for that side of the show, and I'm glad that Max Verstappen said, "Well, I'm not so much into those kind of show deals and funny tricks and interviews, and I have to do. I like the sport. I like to go fast in my car, and I think in bike racing we will get a bit more entertainment, more music. We'll definitely get more music. At Zandvoort, where I was 2 years ago, there's more music than racing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. There's DJs non-stop from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening, and in between they run a Formula One race, I believe. But and the noise of the speakers of the DJs is well, it's not so our taste, I reckon. I mean, we are of a different generation, but the crowd, they think it's fantastic, and they start singing and waving, and that's what they do it for, and they want to keep those spectators because they really need them. In particular in Holland, where sports, both Formula One and both MotoGP, are not subsidized by the government. They get some money, but it's less than, I think it's probably less than 10% of their budget. They get some support, but it's not like the in the Far East and in Malaysia and Indonesia, where the government pays the fee to the promoter. They don't do that in Holland. They have to, as we say, keep your own pants up. Huh? They say.
Yeah. I was going to say stand on your own 2 feet, but I think
that is such a Dutch way to say it. So, Nicholas, we have 6 minutes left. Just to
right. Great. you've had your favourite race. Is it fair to ask you your favourite in those 62 years that's coming up?
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's hard to say. There are some, of course, there are some highlights. Herbert Stroyer winning after 3 World Championship titles,
Yeah.
finally winning in front of his home crowd.
Mm.
That was very special.
Yes.
Yeah, the Dutch victories in general, but also the foreign ones. I mean, Giacomo Agostini winning the last 350cc series on an MV in 1976.
And
Yeah.
absolutely,
Later,
only time the bike finished all year, and he destroyed,
yeah, he was gone. Yeah,
a
yeah,
fleet
yeah,
of very quick
yeah.
Yamahas.
He did the same that year on a 500cc MV at the Nürburgring. Nobody could follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shows the class of Agostini, and his victories are, yeah, hard to forget. And he's still around there. You can still go to classic events and see him, and he would jump at the age of, what is he now, 82?
84.
Oh, 84, okay.
It's funny, we
Birthday
look at ages now,
last
don't we? A
week.
lot more than we used to. Yeah.
And every year he says, well, it's the last time. And next year I stay at home. No,
Yeah.
the first classic event of the year. Who's on the first line of the grid? Agostini. I love it. I really do. But Assen, I have no particular
No.
races. There are some highlights. Valentino Rossi winning his last Grand Prix in 2000. What was it? 17.
Yeah.
He had his
Oh,
own
yes.
grandstand at Assen, yellow, completely
Yeah.
filled with his own. There was a very active Dutch Rossi fan club, and yeah, they realized with the organization of Assen a reserved grandstand for the Rossi fans and other people. And Rossi, for the first time, getting off the bike and kissing the grass in front of the spectators and dancing and
Yeah.
cheering. Those are things I remember, but also the fight between what was it? Wilco Zeelenberg, who's still around now,
Yeah.
dicing with Keely and Cadalora for the victory in the 250 class.
Yeah.
Finish also, he didn't win it, but it was one of the best races I've ever seen.
Yeah. And poor old Colin Edwards with Nicky Hayden. The hard luck story of hard luck stories.
The
Yeah.
trouble
Yeah.
is, no one cared because Nicky won.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
love Nicky so much.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
also very popular in the Netherlands, Nicky Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the future for us, and Hans, from everything you say, looks pretty good.
Well, they have a contract that expires, I think, in 2031.
Yeah.
But they still keep improving the circuit. A lot of things you can't see behind the stands, the facilities,
Yeah.
the transport roads. They work on it, and this year there's a new director this year, and you can see there's more attention on social media. They realize that they have to attract young people. They have to people who probably want to sit at home and watch a live stream. No, they
Yeah.
have to come to the circuit to keep the sport alive. And of course, we in the Netherlands we only have one man we can count on. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, we have two. Of course, we have Zonta van der Goorberg, but the biggest talent at the moment is Colin Veyer. But well, as we heard last week in Brno, he's riding with an injury on his shoulder. The second part of the race he can't go full throttle, and he is our hope for the future. He's young and he's talented, but we need a rider, and I know Dorna wants that too, because nowadays the Grand Prix racing is more or less an open Spanish/Italian championship.
Yeah.
And we do want foreign riders to join, others than
Yep.
others license holders than Spanish and Italian.
Yeah, what I've seen of Vio, I think he has a good chance of progressing. Nick, we have precisely 1 minute to go.
Ah, Wow. We could
So
talk about
I can have one question at you guys. Where are
come
the
on.
English apart from
What?
the
Just
old
the same.
Crutchlow?
Just the same,
Yeah,
Hans.
I
Just the
mean,
same story. Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
bit
we
of
Yeah.
have British
activity.
superbikes at Assen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, how
It's
much?
heartbreaking, isn't it?
Don't
Because
ask that question with just a minute left, Hans. I
yeah,
can't.
here we are with a minute to go. But talking about the Mike Howards, the Jack Middlebergs, the Will Hartogs, and now we're scrabbling to even get people enter. We haven't. There's no British riders in Moto 2 or MotoGP. Dutch. I think there's two riders in the whole championship. Yeah, yeah. It's. Oh, let's just hope it changes. Oh, Jules, Assen. Great memories. Not only chips and mayonnaise, beer at 6 o'clock in the morning, also some great racing.
Just how lovely to listen to Hans, who he tells a story so well, and he gives you the sense of what it means there. The story, yeah, the Egbert Stroyer bit hadn't occurred to me
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was, that was, and sidecars used to matter in Assen.
Oh, didn't they just?
No one went
Because
home.
no, because just like in this country, it's because it was the only real success that was coming
Yeah,
the fans' way, wasn't it?
yeah,
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 yeah.
and talking about the Dutch winners, there were a few, but there's quite a few years between those Dutch winners.
Wow, well, Hanspan was the last one, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. So
so Colin
it's a
Vire,
very it's very like Britain, isn't it, in many ways? You know,
yeah,
the absolute backbone of the sport,
yeah,
the rock of the sport all the way through, but very few successful riders.
although
Yeah, in recent times.
yeah, I mean we talked about Jack Middleberg, we talked about the White Giant Bill Hartog.
Well,
We should
Hartog,
mention Boot van Dalman. Of
Pete
course,
Van Dorn, I
those
think he
three
won a Matra, didn't he? One year, yeah,
he
yeah,
did. Those three, they were all massively impressive,
yeah,
fast, competitive men who
yeah.
could
They were,
race
yeah,
with the best. They always used to come to the big races in the UK. They always
yeah. They
turned up to
did.
go gun for the money at the end of season stuff.
They did. They did. And Hans himself traveled the world with Hans Watt for 50 years. Great, great friends. Many scrapes together, but oh, he was annoying. There was me, long hair, beard, couldn't speak any different languages. Here was Hans, blonde, tall, spoke about four different languages. Do you know, I still go into the pub in my village now, and they still ask me. They're not girls now, the older they say, where's that blonde Dutchman you used to bring in here before? Oh, infuriating,
More
wasn't
reasons to dislike him. Yes.
it? No, none at all. Next week, Paul Butler returns. Now, we keep saying Paul's coming, but he is. And he's going to talk about Aggo's switch from MV Augusta to Yamaha. And of course, the first ever winner of the World Championship, the Premier Class World Championship on a two-stroke. Also, a lot about Kenny Roberts and his team that Paul was so involved with. And some sad news we heard. Great friend of Paul Butler's, Ted McCauley, former journalist, well known in all sports, for the Daily Mirror. Ted suddenly passed away at his home in Ireland a couple of weeks ago. And Ted broke many stories. The thing is, when he did, it got on the front page of the Daily Mirror when they found out that Barry Sheen and Stephanie were a couple. And that was at the Grand Prix at the Salzburg Ring in that hotel high on the hill that overlooked the circuit. And Ted was staying there and he realised, and it made the front page of the Daily Mirror. There's some doyens of the press then, wasn't there? There was Leslie Nichol, Daily Express, George Turnbull, brilliant pianist from the Daily Telegraph. John Brownie did a lot for the Daily Telegraph, obviously, after leaving Motorcycle News. So they were, yeah, very, very different days.
Yeah, because Fleet Street, as it was then, would cover motorcycle racing.
Yeah, yeah, they would. Well, there we go. We really enjoyed Hans van Loozenoord.
Oh,
Think about Assen. I'll be thinking about Assen this weekend. I absolutely promise you, because it was the first Grand Prix I ever went to, 73. First, I saw Barry Sheen's first win, and like you, my first ever Grand Prix as a proper reporter when Jack Middleburg won the race. Yeah, so very special memories.
It's a place that lots of British fans used to go as their first expedition because of the easy ferry and the easy
Yeah.
ride. And it left a lasting impression on my attitudes to, as I said to Hans, I learned what bike racing should be about and what the atmosphere should be like.
Don't forget your motorsport tickets, motorsporttickets.com for any sports, MotoGP, World Superbikes, Formula One. It does help us. QR code is up on the screen now, so you know how to order your tickets. And Jules, we're always after a bit of help, aren't we?
We are, subscribing to your preferred platform where you get your podcast helps us. It pushes us up algorithms and what have you. And I'm delighted to say that people are still joining the Paddock Club, or which gives you that costs you a couple of quid, unlike subscribing to the platforms. But you get our words of wit and wisdom a day early, and chat rooms and all the usual little bonuses you'd expect.
What a great description of Racing Back. Wit and wisdom. Hope you enjoy it as much as we do.